Welcome back to the American Athletic Conference Media Days. Chris Budd and Rini Ngoli as we get you set to talk about Tulane. It's a season we've seen last year. They go 2-10, but I mean, Willie Fritz is known for bringing success there to that program. Where are some areas you feel like this team needs to get better to replicate that?
Well, and I think if you ask Coach Fritz, he would agree. They underachieved last year. Now, they had some injuries. They had to fight through that. I mean, if you remember, they opened up against Oklahoma, a game they could have won.
Oh, yeah.
It came down to
they
the
got
wire.
Moved.
Yeah, but I think they only lost by 5 and really had a chance to win that game. And then it just kind of steamrolled downhill from there, not the season that they wanted to. So I would expect Tulane to be the biggest turnaround of all the American teams this year. I think there's going to be a huge difference in their play. And, you know, Nick Anderson, a lot of people don't know, played with a high ankle sprain last year, which was really hard to do, but he played through it. And then, of course, Michael Pratt, third year starting, more experience. Taj Spears, a player that had previously had a hurt knee, came back, wasn't 100% healthy, a dynamic running back. He's going to be good to go. Much better team this year.
Interesting game, September 17th, where you see another transfer quarterback in Adrian Martinez. That'll be a good battle, who came over to Kansas State from Nebraska. All right, let's get to head coach Willie Fritz. Coach, thanks so much for hopping on with us. Last year, disappointing season. Where have you focused over the offseason? I mean, you guys are known for that success down there in New Orleans. What are the pieces you've been focused on this year?
Well, we've got a lot of guys coming back. I think we've got 15 guys who started at least one game on the offensive side of the ball in their college career, and the same number on the defensive side of the ball. So a lot of experience coming back. We had a tough season. It was kind of an unusual year. Everybody had COVID 2 years ago, and then we had Hurricane Ida, and we were in Birmingham, Alabama for a month and came back, and some guys never did get into their houses that whole semester in the season. So we just worked on turning the page. I'm excited about our off-season program we had. Our new strength coach, Kurt Hester, has done a phenomenal job with our student athletes and team. We've gotten faster and stronger and quicker, and we've stayed away from injuries during the spring. Sometimes you worry about that as well. So I don't think there's a team that's more fired up about getting the season started than the Green Wave.
Awesome. Well, we're going to toss it over to Chuck Sullivan. He is going to open up the questions to the media members.
Thanks, Chris. And again, for members of the media, use the raise hand feature in the Zoom to get into the queue. And we will start with Gary Smith from the New Orleans Advocate, please.
Hi, Willie. You had, I think by my count, you have 10 players from the transfer portal that have come in, 6 that participated in the spring, 4 that have come since then. And I think Jeffrey Johnson is really the first significant guy you've ever lost, and he played 4 years for you before entering the portal. Just how much do you feel like the portal's helped you, and how much will it help you this year?
I think it's going to help us a lot. I think that's indicative of our culture. We've lost very few guys to the portal. We've brought a lot of kids in, and most of those kids have been New Orleans guys. Sometimes people think the grass is a little greener someplace else, and they go there and they find out it's only green, and they want to come back home. And so we're excited about the additions that we've got through the transfer portal. A couple big offensive linemen, Kenan Ray from Colorado, and Prince Pines from Sam Houston State. He started originally at Baylor and started a season for them. Was an All-American FCS player at Sam Houston. And Shad Clayton from here in New Orleans, running back from Colorado, that played quite a bit for them. Picked up a couple of really good receivers, Lawrence Keys from Notre Dame from New Orleans, and then also Day McDougal, another great receiver from Maryland, who coincidentally was high school teammates with Michael Pratt. I think Michael might have done all the recruiting on that deal. I don't know. You'll have to ask him a little bit later. But we picked up some really good guys in the portal, and I think that's the way you really want to try to do it. Don't lose your guys, and then also gain some guys that maybe have a tie to your university or to your city.
We'll go next to Dan Tortora, please. Wake up call, DT.
Coach, always good to talk with you. I know that conference realignment is something that has happened here for many, many years. But over the past decade, we've seen two major moments, and we're living in one of those right now. Just what you could say about how you view conference realignment and the three schools that are within the American, obviously UCF, Houston, and Cincinnati will be on their way out after this season, and then 6 will be coming in, and how you feel about that shift from a coaching perspective.
Well, I think we've got a really top-notch league. We talk about being part of the Power Six, but I really believe that's true. And I think these teams that we're adding to the conference are going to bring big-time, value as well. And a lot of them are strong academic institutions like Tulane. Also, a lot of them are within our footprint, not too far away. Our fans will be able to travel. Their fans will be able to travel. So I think we've really done a good job with the additions to our conference.
We'll go next to Leo Haggerty, please.
A recruiting question. When you end up not going to a bowl game, one of the advantages of going to a bowl game is you get an extra week or two of practice. Should the NCAA allow teams that do not go to a bowl game an extra 7 days, either in the spring or in the fall? Because all that happens is the rich keep getting richer because they get to practice longer.
I haven't put a lot of thought into that, but with what the NCAA added this summer, with being able to use a football for 2 hours a week, I think that is a nice step forward. We were able to do a lot of things, and we had 10 what we call football school workouts, practices, and for an hour of each one of those practices, you were able to throw the football around. I feel like we've got probably 80-90% of our offense in, 80-90% of our defense in, and then also a little bit of our special teams. The only limitation that you had is you weren't able to go against each other in a competitive type environment. So, you can also argue that during that time, we weren't able to practice. We were able to get on the road recruiting, and maybe cover a little bit more ground than we normally did. We feel like we had maybe our best season recruiting this last year too, which is difficult to do coming off a season like we had.
We'll go next to Trace Trilco, please, Sons of UCF.
Coach, what would you like to see from Michael Pratt? What kind of development in order to have a successful season?
Well, Michael had a tough season last year with some injuries, and he fought through it. He's a highly competitive guy. We talk to him all the time about first down, touchdown, get down. And we're going to work on that a little bit more. You'll have to ask Michael about that. But, he's just a great leader and a great runner. You don't want to take that away from your offense. It's a big difference between college game and the pro game is the ability of the quarterbacks to run the football. I think he's excited about, the addition of the new offensive coaches that we've brought in. I think we've got excellent depth on the offensive side of the ball. I'm excited about our O-line. We got 7, 8, 9 guys who are going to compete for those 5 starting spots. We've got 2 really experienced tight ends that I think could play for a lot of people across the country. 4 or 5 really good running backs. And then wide receiver position, I think, is really solid as well. And that's an area that we needed to get better at. So the people around him need to do a great job, and that'll allow Michael to have a fantastic season as well.
Well, from Dan Tortora, please.
Coach, looking at the fact that you went to 3 bowl games, in 3 years, 2-1 in those bowl games before what happened last season, where is Tulane, in your opinion, as far as that plan that you implemented years ago? And what can you say about the foundation that's been built and where this team is currently at, knowing that you've had 3 bowl games in the last 4 years?
Well, we want to get back to that level at the bare minimum, but we really feel like we can compete for conference championships. That's our goal, and that's what the guys are working towards day in and day out. As I said before, I think we got great culture. We've lost very few guys. I really like the environment that these guys have created with the team. The coaches have helped create with the team as well, and we like our schedule. We got a little bit of a tailspin and had a hard time coming out of it last year, but one thing I was proud of is the way our guys competed from the beginning of the season till the end of the season. I really had next to zero problems. Sometimes when the wheels fall off, they go in all different directions, and you start having problems. And we didn't have that. Our guys, kept the high character standards that we want to have here at all times. But certainly we were disappointed in our record, and we want to compete for a conference championship. We really believe that we can do that.
We'll take a follow-up from Gary Smith, please.
Yeah, Willie, you brought in Valentino Ambrosio, the kicker from Rutgers, in the offseason. How important an addition do you feel like he can be for your kicking game?
Well, very important. We need to have consistent field goal kicking. That was a weakness of ours this past season, and we need to have a guy that can hit those gimme field goals that are within range, and also be able to if you get in a 4th and 7 or 8 situation, it's a 51-yarder. You got a great chance of making that as well. So it's going to be a lot of competition to see who our field goal kicker is during preseason camp.
All right, Coach, as a former running back, I got to ask about Taj Spears. How's he doing? And any wrinkles in the offense under Coach Sabota?
Tajay's doing great. His last ball game against Memphis, he had 264 yards rushing. He's had a great offseason. He's had a great summer. There's we're going to be able to change up our tempos, which is something that I like that Coach Sabota has brought in. We have the ability. Not very many teams can go fast and slow, and we want to be able to do both. We want to be able to run a 4-minute offense where we're taking time off the clock and running the football, and everybody in the stadium knows you're running it, and you're still able to get first downs. But we also want to go fast and change those tempos. An old defensive coordinator, I really think that puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So Jim has done a great job of coming in here and implementing his offense, and then the other assistant coaches that have come in with him, I think, have brought in some solid ideas as well.
Coach, with Michael Pratt, it being his 3rd year in this system, where has he improved most now, having done this for the 3rd time?
Well, really, this is going to be the 3rd different system that Michael's been under. We had Coach Hall, now the head coach at Southern Miss, his first season, and our offense was different last year, and now with Coach Sabota. But with the benefit of spring football, and then also all the things that you're allowed to do in the summer, it feels like we had 2 spring balls, in my opinion. We've gotten a lot of good work in, and he's a gym rat. He's up here all the time, and just trying to eke out every bit of knowledge that he can from Coach Sabota, and also getting the other players together. In this day and age, you're limited how many hours you can do things as far as workouts are concerned. Like 8 hours a week is what you're allowed. But these guys come up here a whole lot more than that, to study video on their own, to go out in the field and do, routes on air. They get with the defense and do 7-on-7s. And Michael's been a leader of all of that. So he's going to have a huge season for us. We're excited to see his development from year 2 to year 3.
Awesome. We appreciate the time. Looking forward to start your 7th season there with Tulane. Appreciate it. Have a great fall camp.
Thank you. Roll wave.
He mentioned one of the things that we have seen a theme, as we mentioned, at Houston and SMU. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's just green. And with the talent that you have in New Orleans, some of those guys not staying with their hometown school, going to other schools, but then realizing, hey, maybe this is the place that I want to be. That transfer portal has been very helpful to Tulane.
Yeah, and a team like Tulane that was in that tailspin, like he talked about, it's important to put some pieces in there. And until he had mentioned it, I forgot the hurricane issue they dealt with, that they were living in Birmingham, Alabama for a month. And so, and it steamrolled for him in a bad way last year. But like he said, he likes the way his team fought through it, and adding those additional pieces in the transfer portal. They're going to be much improved this year. I know Willie Fritz, what type of coach he is. They have talent there. to win this year.
Yeah, you start off the season September 3rd against UMass, Kansas State, going to Manhattan on September 17th, Southern Miss, and then you got to go play at Houston, at South Florida, at Tulsa. But the rest, I mean, you get some good games at home with UCF, SMU, and Memphis all coming to New Orleans.
There's no doubt about it. And as I said, they have the talent on that roster to win some games for sure.
One of the other things, though, is offensive line has got to get better. I mean, Willie had said 3 different systems for Michael Pratt, but you still have to be able to move the chains, and the O-line needs to be able to step up.
You got to win inside, right? I've talked about it all day, and he said he had 7 to 9 guys battling for those 5 spots, so we'll see how it pans out for him.
All right, as we get ready for the players, quarterback Michael Pratt, linebacker Nick Anderson joining us now. Players, guys, thanks so much for joining us. Michael, we'll start with you. Coach had mentioned it. You're basically your third system now, your third year, your third system with Tulane. Where are the differences and what you've learned in year 3 with this system?
Just going into year 3, obviously I've had first year Coach Hall, last year Coach Long, and then Coach Boda this year. Coach Boda's brought in a lot of really good implementations of how we're going to tempo our offense, taking, what's there, not trying to do too much with the ball. I think last year that was one of the things I think we try to do a little too much sometimes. But just in his system that we're going to take what's there, we're going to work with what the defense has given us and go from there.
Okay, we'll go right to questions from the media, please. Again, use the raise hand feature in the Zoom to get in the queue for questions. We'll start with Gary Smith, please.
Michael, I think 10 of the 11 teams in the AAC returned their starting quarterback, but you were picked 3rd team all-conference by Athlons. You're one of the 85 finalists preseason watch list for the Maxwell Award. Obviously, there's a ton of respect for your ability out there. How do you feel about that, and what type of season do you feel like you can have?
I feel good about that. I still don't think I've showcased everything that I'm capable of. I think that going into year 3, I think everything's going to continue to slow down even more for me. I think that the offense that we have, that Coach Boda's brought in, the talent that we have with all our new receivers, all the receivers we have coming back, the offensive line, having Tajay back and Ashad Clayton and Cam Carroll and all those guys, I think we have a really effective offense that we're going to be able to produce and score a lot of points this year, balancing out from the run game, the pass game, and everything's going to open up. And, no matter if we're going to be a run-heavy offense, pass-heavy, I think we're going to be very effective no matter what we do.
Go to Dan Tortora, wake-up call DT for the next one, please.
This is for you both. Just coming off of a season that win-loss record-wise in the column doesn't look adequately to what you guys were trying to do last year, obviously. So how do you come off of a season like that? And what were some of the things that you can build upon last year that maybe we can't see simply by looking at the record?
First and foremost, just like Coach Fritz said, just being able to turn the page and look forward to this upcoming season, look forward to this preseason camp and the first game versus UMass. One of the things that has really been a blessing for our team is that we've brought 98% of the guys back, and it was just shows our diligence, just our attitude about last season, knowing that we don't want to, move on from this program and, go out the way that we did last year. Guys just had different attitudes in this offseason, just been working harder, holding themselves more accountable. I feel like the relationships from player to coach are extremely, extremely well, probably the best since I've been here. And we've just been really putting our heads down and going to work on a day-to-day basis, focusing on building each other up and being here for each other, because when we was 2-10, the only people that we could count on was ourselves. And that's just one of the things that's really built us as a program, is just depending on each other on a day-in and day-out basis.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Nick said. I think the morale in the locker room, the overall attitude within the players and the coaches has completely changed. I think the accountability has gone up dramatically. I think we've had at least half the guys really step up and take some leadership roles and hold people accountable, like I said. And I really don't think that our record last year dictated the type of team we were. I think week 1 we showed what we were capable of against Oklahoma, and I think we only had 3 games that I would say we really lost those games. I think majority of the other games were within a touchdown. So, there's little things that we're working on this offseason through spring, summer, the attitude changes, coaching changes are really going to push forward and help us this year.
Back to Gary Smith for a follow-up, please.
Sure. Michael, you mentioned some of the close games. Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, the three teams that are leaving the league after this year, they split up all of the first place votes in the media poll. And you guys had a chance against all three of those. You were ahead of Houston in the second half last year. You almost beat UCF. You didn't play the Cincinnati game, but that was competitive. Does that make you feel like you're closer than maybe some people on the outside think you are going into this season?
Oh, 100%. When I look at the schedule, I don't think there's a game on there that we can't win. I think we're going to be top contenders this year, and we want to win the AAC championship, and that's what we're striving to do, and that's our goal.
Hey guys, I know both of you played through some injuries, banged up a bunch last year. Nick, I know you had a high ankle sprain. How are you guys now health-wise? I'm assuming good. And how important is it, right, to stay healthy to get off to a good start this season?
Most definitely. I actually broke my fibula. So ankle sprain, give or take. But it's just a blessing. Just being out really allowed me to do my due diligence of, seeing where my team needed help, being able to support both the offense and the defense. Really just taking a step back from being a player on the field and being able to, just be a shoulder to lean on. We were going through a lot with the hurricane, with guys just being in bad places mentally. And it was good for me to, just be there for those guys. Despite my injury, I was able to, just be there for my teammate, be there for Michael, despite the wins and losses. That was just the biggest thing because mentally we went through a lot last year. And I just was blessed to be able to come back when I did. But, that's the biggest thing this year, just staying healthy.
Yeah, agreed. I think another impact from this year is our strength program has really increased and really helped us out. I don't think we've had any soft tissue injuries or anything like that since spring, which is huge, all the way through spring and summer. So I think they're doing a really good job of doing what we need to do in order to stay healthy. And I've also put on some weight to help protect my body is going to be huge for this year, and so.
We can go back to Gary Smith for one more, please.
Sure, Nick, you were nominated for the Werfel Award today. How much does that mean to you, considering it's also for off the field and community service, stuff like that, in addition to on field?
Most definitely. It's an honor. It just gives a testament to, something that's dear to my heart, which is serving my community and being able to help as much off the field as I do on the field. It's just a blessing to be recognized for the things that I try to, help around the city of New Orleans. And that's just one thing that is real adamant when it comes to our university and our football team. We're very adamant about community service, getting out there, helping with children, with the homeless, with churches and different things like that. So it's not just a reward for myself, but also just a recognition of how we carry this program and, the things that we try to instill in our guys on a day-to-day basis on and off the field.
Michael Pratt, Nick Anderson, really appreciate the time. Good luck this season. Stay healthy, and we're looking forward to watching you guys play.
Thank you.
That wraps up the Tulane portion of today's Media Day.